Metal Hurlant number 6, March of 1976, published by Les Humanoides Associes. Greetings, friends. Today we're going to look at another fantastic issue of Metal Hurlant. This time we're looking at issue number 6 from March of 1976. This issue is chock full of amazing stories by some great artists. We start off with a fantastic cover introducing Le Major Gruber, a fine Moebius cover with Major Gruber on it. Obviously, he's just successfully hunted some kind of gigantic creature, as you can see in the background. Inside cover, Hailu once again. They published a ton of science fiction, horror, and fantasy books. Editorial by Jean-Pierre Dionnet. This is particularly fantastic. This page, a one-pager, is by Serge Clerc. You may recall Serge Clerc. He did a ton of stuff for Metal Hurlant and, of course, in heavy metal. He's famous for his Rockers comic strip series. This in particular is rather humorous. As you can see, it's 6 different what if Metal Hurlant issue number 6 covers. These two have the appearance of classic comic books, very Marvel, DC type of stuff. This one, of course, is the takeoff of Queen's News of the World. Now, the art itself was originally done for a story called Farewell to the Master, which was adapted to the film The Day the Earth Stood Still. But as you can see, the robot here is carrying Le Bandard Fowl, the horny goof. That's a Moebius creation. And this one is just straight up EC sci-fi fantasy comics, kind of patterned after weird science fantasy. Sadly, you do not see this reprinted in Heavy Metal magazine. Let's check out the contents page, shall we? Well, we start off with Eternity Road by the great Enki Bilal. Wait until you see that stuff. Voyeur by John Paul Nail. And Una Aventure de Jerry Cornelius, Moebius, page 17. The Airtight Garage of Jerry Cornelius begins in Metal Hurlant number 6. And then Tardi comes in with Luna de Miel, of course, Honeymoon, literally translated there. Return of the Book Eaters, Jean-Pierre Dionnet, about books, of course. Les Adventures de Roger Fringat, the misspelling there, I don't know why, but it's Fringat, not Tringat, by Loeb, page 52. Tourisme by Moebius, page 54. The Marvels of the Universe, Serge Clerc, Jean-Pierre Dionnet, back with another article. Den, Chapter 4 by Richard Corben. The Queen Dorée by Bihannic, written by Druillet, is on page 69. Then Mas finishes out this issue on page 79. Eternity Road by Enki Bilal. Glorious black and white. It's like a cross-hatching apocalypse. And this, of course, shows up in heavy metal later. An article about movies. So they're talking about present movies, then future movies. Okay, so this gets very interesting. Remember, this is March of 1976, folks. So films that are currently out, Bug. Remember, that's the Bradford Dillman movie, which I believe was based upon the Hephaestus Plague novel. Dark Star, John Carpenter's first feature film, co-starring Dan O'Bannon, who figures very well into the Metal Hurlant heavy metal universe. John Landis with Schlock. They got a little photo there. Logan's Run, brand new in cinemas. Death Race 2000, Roger Corben. Damnation Alley. The Parasite Murders, which is actually Shivers. This is David Cronenberg's film. They call it The Parasite Murders. Future films. The Star Wars. George Lucas, the guy that did THX 1138 and American Graffiti, it has launched into a new project, the Star Wars. Of course, Star Wars. Okay, folks, it's just started raining, so if you hear rain hitting the roof in the background, that's what it is. In any case, upcoming films, Star Wars, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, of course, The Legend of King Kong, Dino De Laurentiis, Dean Koontz, The Demon Seed. Fantastic film, by the way. In France, Jodorowsky is preparing Dune, the ill-fated film project from Jodorowsky. The first story of The Airtight Garage of Jerry Cornelius by Moebius. Just fantastic art here. It's only a 2-pager. Here is the Tardi story, Honeymoon. Here we're in space, aboard a Soviet Union spaceship. And there's a couple on the ship, and they're apparently enjoying their honeymoon, when along comes a spaceship that kind of looks like a hairdryer. This guy boards it with his little minions here, and they're hassling the honeymooning couple, and the Russian guy blasts one of the freak minion mutants. They return fire and kill the couple. Then one of the minion mutants sees an embryo that was in a large test tube and thinks it's food. But then suddenly he starts expanding, and the ship blows up. And here we go with Simone and Leon by Margarine. Future Times in Paris. Le Major Fatal, Major Gruber. His line work is astounding. I just love it. His one-page cityscapes are fantastic. Love these panels. An article on TV shows like UFO. I believe Space 1999 is mentioned. Here we have the return of The Adventures of Roger Fringant, 1976, by Loeb. And as I was saying at the beginning, we get into some more pages by the great Serge Clerc. Then, Chapter 4, the color explosion is back, folks. Fantastic colors and imagery, per usual, from El Maestro, Richard Corben. This little bit here shows up in the movie Neverwhere, which you can find on YouTube. Just look up Richard Corben Neverwhere. It's a live-action animated short film that he did in 1969. Love the Queen here. And he has to fight this freak. But man, look, check out those colors on that. That is, they get to dueling. The freak's got him in a headlock. What's going to happen? Continued. This is art by Bihannic, but it is written by Philippe Druillet. More stunning detail from this guy. He didn't have a lot of stories. 5 or 6 that I'm aware of were published in Metallica Lot, and probably because they were just too labor intensive. Some of these pages, you've got to think that it could be taking the guy several days to do a page. And of course the Metallica Lot ads page. The first 5 issues here, some great posters. Le Rat by Mandrika, I'd love to get that. Or this poster for issue number 2, that's fantastic. Some books here. Corben's Rolf, Tardi, Baudet, Jur, a.k.a. John Giraud, a.k.a. Moebius. And here we go with The Adventures of Gwendoline. Oh yes, some comic book bondage from John Willie. New posters here by Philippe Druillet. Futureopolis, there it is. And here's the last story. This is by Moss. You'll notice something in the story. There is a ton of zipatone. Moss is just cranking out the zipatone for this story. And he's used a lot in the past, as we've seen with other stories by Moss. And another ad for Futureopolis. I would have loved to have visited Futureopolis in the mid-70s in Paris, France. The back page is an ad for Rock and Folk magazine. Which brings us to Metal Hurlant number 7. One of my least favorite covers. I'm not quite sure what the hell they were thinking about. However, this issue contains one of the greatest, most groundbreaking science fiction comic book stories ever published. And we're going to get to that in the next episode dealing with Metal Hurlant magazine. I hope you've enjoyed this video about Metal Hurlant number 6 from March of 1976. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.